IVM.
Hey everybody, welcome to a very special episode of the Geek Fruit Podcast. This week it's me, Tejas, and Dinkar. Hi Dinkar.
Hey Tejas, what's up?
So many things.
Oh, so many things.
So many things are up.
Tell us all of them, starting now.
Well, it's a season for things, like now till the end of the year, it's like, it's like that point of time where people stop caring about work as much and just getting ready to party and shit.
Oh, yes. That starts now. Yeah, right? It's not like I haven't cared about work this entire year.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know what it is, man. Post-monsoons. So we're yet to know, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Halloween is over. We had a great Halloween party. We have the rest of December and, lots of things happening, lots of movies, lots of games. But we have another guest to talk about all these exciting things. It's Abbas. How's it going, man?
Hi, it's going good.
What's up, Abbas?
What have you been up to, man?
Have you stopped caring about your work yet?
More or less.
Nice.
Can I say that as an employee of the company which produces?
Yeah, man. You can be free. Feel free. Freedom of speech on this podcast.
Yeah, I just had a good vacation in October.
Nice.
So,
Where did you go? What did you do?
I was in Goa.
Sick,
and then I attended the film festival where I bumped into Dinkar last year.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think did you attend it?
I did go this year, though I didn't get to watch a lot.
Okay.
I was
this is Mams.
The Mams.
Okay,
Yes.
Mams, yeah.
Nice.
As the cool kids
What do you
call it.
watch? Quickly tell us. In 3 seconds? No. In 3 movies.
Give us your top 3.
I'll tell you 3 movies that I like the most. There's this film called Waves.
Okay.
By Trey Edward Schultz, which was it's about an African American family. They go through an emotional turmoil. Great music. I think the best needle drops of 2019.
Oh, nice.
Check it out if you find time. There's a documentary I saw called For Sama about a Syrian mother who's making a documentary for her daughter. Very hard to watch, but very important film.
Oof, okay.
And number 3, I would say I couldn't watch The Irishman because the whole thing was sold out in like seconds.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you can come to my house and watch it.
Yeah, I heard it's going to be
theaters, man. The way Scorsese intended it to be on Netflix.
We try our best at home.
Yeah, and number 3, what should I put number 3? There's a film, the Jim Jarmusch movie, The Dead Don't Die, the zombie film.
Nice.
Did you like that?
It was okay.
Do you think it's because of that cast? They're all just so good, and it's a very Jim Jarmusch movie in that it barely makes sense and it's very rambly. So it's fun, but I don't know if it's a good movie in hindsight.
What about you, Dinks? What did you watch?
I didn't get to catch a lot, so I basically just walked into a bunch of morning screenings. I saw The Art of Self-Defense with Jesse Eisenberg.
Okay, good.
Very good, really good actually, surprisingly so. I didn't expect a lot. I saw a documentary called Talking About Trees, which is about this group of old school Sudanese filmmakers who are trying to reinstate live theatre screenings,
okay,
which are important. Tejas, by the way, you gotta watch stuff at home.
I go to the theatre quite often.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
so do I. But actually, it's pretty great, especially in today's context, because the entire it's not like movies are bad. Everybody just watches pirated stuff at home, but these guys start trying to basically they run this thing called the Film Institute of Sudan or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get live theatre culture back into the country. So it's all about how they're trying to figure that out. They're trying to buy a projector. They're trying to fight with the government. And eventually they don't get to do it. So it's a little depressing end.
Aww, spoilers, man. Jeez.
It's a documentary. It already happened.
It's a documentary.
It's a documentary.
Yeah.
And what else did I see? I also saw Harmony Korine's The Beach Bum.
Okay.
That's a weird one.
Oh, Beach Bum. Yeah, I heard about this.
Yeah. It's got there's one scene where Snoop Dogg and Matthew McConaughey smoke a joint that's about twice the size of their arm.
Of Matthew McConaughey. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, okay, cool.
It's the entire movie is basically...
Both of them could, only 2 of them, with their powers combined.
It's if you've ever seen any of Harmony Korine stuff, he's this very... he makes movies about trash bags, basically.
Nice.
And this is the trash baggiest of them all, because Matthew McConaughey plays essentially a druggier version of himself, I want to say.
Nice.
He's this poet called Moondog.
Oh,
who
God.
is basically... I know, already. A poet called Moondog, who's high all the time. And that's pretty much it. Nothing happens in the movie, man. There's one incident.
I love shit like that.
It's the...
I love it when nothing happens.
I liked it in parts where it was kind of funny and parts where it was kind of sweet. But also, literally nothing happens. And at the end of the day, I didn't like anybody in the movie. They're all the worst. There's one major thing that happens in the movie where you're oh my God, what's Moondog gonna do? But Moondog just keeps on being Moondog, man. I swear, like, a major thing that should, like, destroy his life happens. The next day he's like, cool. What else is up?
Well, that's one way to live life. That's cool. All right, sweet. Man, I wish I had a chance to attend. But I sat home and watched the movie. It's cool. All right. So, we're here to talk on that note of quality cinema from these film festivals. Perfect transition. Terminator. Terminator Dark Fate. Dinkar and I had a chance to talk about it. We have a show on Book My Show called Under the Hood. We spoke about like a preview of it, saying, how do we fix Terminator, right? Because there's been so many crap movies that have come before. The timeline is so skewed. But the best gift that the filmmaker, in this case Tim Miller and James Cameron, who's producing, could have given us is that they said, ignore everything else. Go straight to this one from 2.
Right.
So for those who haven't really caught on to the last movie, where do I start? What do I do? You don't need to watch any of that. That's fine. I mean, watch it. It's all great. You were saying trash bag films? These are all trash bag films. These are great trash bag films. In fact, you can view the entire Terminator series as a bunch of branching out timelines in which some are good, some are bad, some are weird. And we have another one now.
And they're also different.
They're very different, tonally. You're right. And we come to Dark Fate, which sees the return of Linda Hamilton, Jimmy Cameron, and Arnie, of course, and a new cast, Mackenzie Davis. Who was there? That's what her name was. I kept forgetting her name.
Mackenzie Davis.
San Junipero.
Yes,
she's in The Martian. She's in a bunch of films.
Who was she in The Martian?
She was
one of the NASA people.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I mean, it's that or she's in space.
She's Matt Damon or she's at NASA.
Yeah. So, so interesting cast. Straight up, what do you guys think of the film? And let's go with your opinions.
I went in with not a lot of expectations because I have walked into previous Terminators with a lot of expectations.
Where do you stand in the Terminator series? Like, are you a Terminator fan?
I worship at the altar of Terminator.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I worship the altar of Terminator, period. Right.
But Terminator 2, I saw it 97, 98, I think.
When it came out.
No, I didn't. It came out in 93, I think, 92 or 93.
Okay. Yeah. Did you watch the 3D re-release that came out?
I did not.
Man, it was sick.
Was it released in India? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I went for it.
I missed it.
It was excellent.
I watched it. Our uncle used to do this thing where when home theater systems were a new thing, he used to get the family together to screen a film. And Terminator 2 was the first film I saw with like a surround sound thing, all of that.
Nice.
And I fell in love. I was like, this is the best thing ever. I saw it earlier this year.
Yeah.
Totally holds up.
Yeah. It's still excellent.
It's still a great movie.
It's just, apart from the technical wizardry, just the way the film is written, the one-liners, the humor, the intensity, all of it still stands. Love the first Terminator as well.
Man, that is a classic, man. I feel like that one's a bit underrated.
It is underrated. I think Cameron sort of did this thing where he was like, which I think has become industry norm now. Let's take a B movie plot, but give it an A movie treatment. Which is great.
Avatar. You're right.
Terminator 3, saw it when it came out.
Rise of the Machines. Claire Danes. Love her. Love her.
Like it, but not the best one.
Yeah.
But fair enough. I mean,
but it's got Arnie.
Whenever it's on TV, I don't change the channel. I watch the rest of it.
Because it's Terminator.
Yeah. Salvation, I have not seen.
What?
Yeah.
Actually, I really like that one.
I appreciate the fact that they took the timeline forward. Genesis, positively, do not like it.
Oh, man,
I did not like it.
It's quite bad.
Yeah, it just took everything that works for the franchise and sort of made it not cool.
There's something so strange about that movie, and the strangest thing for me was the revelation of John. I mean, we're going to be spoiling this whole thing, but revealing that John Connor is like an AI now, and he's a bad guy.
That's all non-canon anyway now. So
I guess it's non-canon, but in that film, they revealed that in the trailers before the movie came out, and I was like, why would you do that? Because that whole sequence where he comes out as a bad guy happens maybe an hour into the film. So I was like, why would you do that? It was reeked of Batman vs Superman trailer norm.
Yeah.
Did BVS spoil something?
Yeah, I mean, well, it showed us Doomsday, showed us.
It spoiled the fact that it was a terrible movie.
I mean, it gave away the third act. It gave away the fact that Wonder Woman was in it. It gave away, so many critical.
The fact that Wonder Woman was in it was probably like the lone selling point they had.
No, I feel like they should have. I mean, he looks like Lego Batman. It was so interesting to see in a trailer. It would be great to just keep it at that. But anyway, Dinkar, where do you stand on the Terminator franchise?
On the franchise as a whole, love the first two. Not a big fan of anything else.
Yeah, cool.
And I feel like I am somewhat in the minority on this one, but I kind of slightly prefer Terminator to Judgment Day.
I think
because they're again such different.
Very
just between
different films,
1 and 2 is such a huge difference.
They're different genres, man.
They're pretty much different
it's
genres.
It's almost like Alien and Aliens. It's like Aliens is like survival
Which
movie.
still makes sense because those are like different directors, different teams and everything, right?
True.
In this case, it's the same dude, but it's basically the period from when James Cameron went from like I'll do Terminator to going like, what if I could make a movie like Spielberg? Because like Judgment Day is James Cameron doing a Spielberg movie.
Yeah, I think there's one critical idea that makes the entire Terminator franchise work. The original idea, why T2 is heralded as the best installment in these movies, is because it takes a simple idea that, hey, this weird sounding guy, Arnold Schwarzenegger, big guy, could probably play a robot. That's the first idea because he's so like.
They're talking about the franchise as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, like at least the first two films, right? It's like, Arnie is like this weird guy who doesn't speak good English. He sounds like he could be a robot because he speaks in such like broken, in such a broken vernacular or whatever.
I need your clothes.
Yeah, that he could play a robot. That's the first idea. The second idea is that, what if this killing machine had a heart, okay? And let it be friends with this kid. That's the principal idea that sells Terminator for me, right? Like a kid and robot. It's like Iron Giant situation.
That's Bicentennial Man.
No,
basically.
It's like it's more like Iron Giant actually.
Yes.
It's like a cold calculated killing machine can have a nice human quality to it, and I think they've kind of
also very monotone. Also, played by Vin Diesel, who is a robot
essentially, right? And I think that's really what made the Terminator franchise work. It wasn't the science fiction-y bits. The action is obviously good, but the action is whenever it's rooted in the fact that he's trying to protect this kid, that's when it works, at least. I mean, the first movie obviously doesn't feel like it's part of the family of the other films because Arnie is the bad guy. Yeah. What did you guys think of Dark Fate? And where does it? What do you guys think?
Here's my theory, and I don't know why this like analogy hasn't been drawn yet, as far as I've seen. They're trying to Force Awakens the Terminator.
Absolutely,
like 1,000%.
I got so many Force Awakens vibes from this.
I actually walked out appreciating Force Awakens a little more.
It
was a hard movie to make. And they did.
Look at the parallels. Bring the original cast back. Hand over to a bunch of new guns who are more appropriate for 2019. So like a more diverse cast, more women led, and also essentially like retread the plot of one of your bigger hits.
Correct.
Because this is more or less Judgment Day.
It's Judgment Day. And there's also like, I mean, for me, I can also see the marketing wheels behind this. So like James Cameron was like, yo, what the hell is happening with this Terminator franchise? How do we fix it? Obviously, they'll Force Awakens it in terms of story. But the other thing is like, this was produced by Tencent, so it's obviously going to have a China release. This has this huge Hispanic cast and is set in that. And which makes sense because, Linda Hamilton's character from even Judgment Day, she goes towards the border to meet with her family, and it's got that whole Latin American, her roots are there. So clubbing these two big, communities into this film, or at least, making sure this is going to have a big China release, was like, how do we maximize the potential of making money on this? Which is surprising because it didn't make it's a box office fail, this movie.
A massive one.
Massive one.
Which
right?
surprises me, honestly.
I'm not surprised. I think the franchise shot itself too many times in the foot. Maybe that's why it's hard to bring it back. It terminated itself. You're right. But you know what? I really like this movie.
I did too.
I did like it.
I thought it was good with like some major reservations.
Oh yeah. For me, it was like okay,
exactly.
Let's have a rip, roll, and rip.
I will say it's not a terrible movie. What do you think about it?
Terrible. I don't think it's terrible.
I think it's bordering on terrible. So here's the thing, right? And the interesting thing is James Cameron gets a story credit.
Yes, but with like some bunch of other people.
So throughout the film, I thought it was peppered with some really interesting ideas.
Do you think he got a story credit because they just took his story from Judgment Day?
Pretty much.
Like, I guess I have to give you a story
it's an adaptation adapted from Terminator 2.
So we're talking full spoilers, right?
Yeah, we could, I suppose. Yeah.
Okay, either you've already seen this movie or you're not going to watch it at all.
Yeah, we did.
Full spoil.
I think let's... or should we take a break, come back, and then go full
Last
spoil?
chance. Okay, after this, we will be back, but after this, it's all spoilers.
Hey, we're back. We're talking about...
We have been backed.
We've been backed. We're talking about Terminator Dark Fate.
Yeah.
Abbas, you were telling us why you thought it was trash.
So, no, there were points in the film where I thought it's a very interesting idea. And maybe Cameron was like the sort of guy who gave them that particular plot point and then moved away to let the others take over. This is just my speculation.
Sure.
So, since we're talking spoilers now,
absolutely.
When the movie starts, we're back in 1998.
Man,
right?
that should blow
that
my mind.
de-aging thing. did you also feel, is this a deleted scene?
Man,
like,
yes, because it was
incredible.
Done so well.
Incredibly well.
I cannot believe it.
Man, when I was looking at Linda Hamilton, like, I think that shot sold it for me. I was just like, yo, this is impossible.
It's
so
weird how, like, I still feel like they might have reused some footage because it's so freaking
it's
good.
perfect. It's perfect.
How did they get, what's his name?
Edward
John.
Furlong.
Yeah,
For me, Edward Furlong, I mean, he looked even younger than he does in like T2. So that can, unless he became a boy again because there's no threat to his life. So now he can live a happy childhood. But he gets shot, man.
He gets shot, at which point the Linda Hamilton voiceover says the future did not happen. We stopped the future, the Skynet future did not happen, right? And at that point, I was like, are they going to like give us a newer version of the future? Because the Terminator franchise is Terminators take over the world.
It's AI versus humans.
And at that point, I was like... So online, there's been a lot of a lot of people have tuned out at this particular moment because they say it nullifies T2, which I don't think is the case.
I mean, she stops a version. I mean, but yeah, there's an interesting point
in the sense that
there.
the first two films, the entire objective was John Connor's survival, and in the third movie, you pretty much kill him off in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is okay, but at that point, I thought they're probably going to take it in a new direction.
Yeah,
we're going to see a future which is slightly less. Doomsday-like as we have seen. Maybe they're going to do something interesting with the Terminators, which they did not.
It could have been a reverse. It could have been a District 9.
Exactly.
Yeah,
all they did was give tentacles to the Terminator.
Man, it was some scary shit.
What was? I mean, essentially, he was the liquid metal guy, but
and
this time
he could separate his exoskeleton.
He had an endoskeleton as well. Yeah. So absolutely on point there. I felt the same way. I was just like, man, the trend that we've usually seen in movies is now where the AI or the alien is given a more sympathetic role, and humans are bad because millennials found we are the problem.
That's because the AI controls everything we do.
Yeah, and we're just looking at
AI is great, by the way.
All the machines are looking at humans and going like, okay, boomer. but yeah. So
and then later on, she asks the new character about Skynet, and she says she's never heard Skynet, but now. She says it's something called Legion
now.
which is what Genesis was. Skynet is not Skynet, it's now Genesis.
Yeah.
So I thought you're retreading the same thing
exactly.
where you could have done so much.
You could have
more,
done something different.
There are again interesting ideas like the Terminator sent back to protect the protagonist this time is a human Terminator.
Yeah, she was my favorite. I think out of all the new characters at least.
Another interesting idea, but I felt it could be slightly more like probably make them more human, probably make the future a more cyberpunk future rather than the apocalyptic future.
I mean, like Linda Hamilton, Sarah Connor should have had some insane effect over the future.
I just felt she just hung around the movie. Like
basically, she
should have been she should have been what Arnold was in the second movie. The protector should have been Linda Hamilton's character.
I mean, she can't. I mean, the fact that she's been robbed of her kid and she's become this. By the way, she could play Shah Rukh Khan's mom. She looks exactly like Shah Rukh Khan. Sorry, it just like hit me. Like I was just like, oh my god, it looks like. Anyway, but she could have. She does play like this badass grandmom kind of role, which like kind of like Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween, the last which came out. But so you can tell that she has issues, man. I mean, of course she would,
which is great. And I thought that was like the way they introduced us. That first scene, man, when she when she saves them at the last minute,
it's pure badassery.
Sold. I am sold.
Also, it's like they took footage from Deadpool because it's the same brain. Tim Miller loves a bridge.
but literally the exact same
spot,
bridge, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when she just like shoots the thingy and then goes like, I'll be back, and then she like walks off, I was like, done, I'm in.
Yeah.
But then they kind of like, they slowly lost grip, I think, on what to do with her exactly, because like she kept clashing with Grace, who is the augmented human who's come back, for no particular reason, by the way.
And so does Grace, likewise also.
That's what I mean, the two of them, their entire dynamic where they were like, oh, these guys hate each other, but they have to work together. I was like,
why though?
Why exactly? It doesn't seem like they particularly hate each other, and it doesn't seem like they particularly can't work together.
The only way they kind of brought that idea is that Sarah Connor is a bit of a liability to the group. I don't know how. She's kind of saved their lives, lives already twice by then. And she's like, oh, we have to wait for her. We have to wait for Grandma Connor. Let's wait for her in the helicopter. And she's like, no, we gotta leave. And then she's like, yeah, she's right. You shouldn't have waited. I was like, you just got into the helicopter, man. Like, why are you doing this?
So there are two lines in this film which are the movies I would have seen. One is when Sarah Connor says, I've been hunting Terminators since I lost my son.
Ah, man.
That's a movie unto itself. Like, tell us, what has she done?
Sarah Connor Chronicles, 2 seasons.
I haven't seen that show.
It's great.
Okay, so that story's been told.
I mean, well, it's not purely about that. There's a Terminator in it, but it's not bad at all.
Okay.
That's Lena Headey, man. I love her.
And the second one was when Arnold says that it's interesting you mentioned what sold Terminator 2 for you was the fact that this machine could have a heart.
Yeah.
And for me, the fact that a machine killed a kid and now it's feeling guilty, so it goes and starts a family.
Wait, what do you guys think about that?
That just sounds like the plot of like those late 80s cheesy comedies that Arnold made. I feel bad now. I have to go start a family. So it's So, but it's an interesting idea. The idea of the machine feeling guilty and coming to terms with that guilt. That could have been the Logan of this franchise.
It did feel like Logan when we finally met Carl, as he goes by now.
It did, but again, it was half-assed.
They didn't really get into it much. Especially, like, I mean, they basically went with like, yep, he feels guilty now. The fact that he's been sending these messages. To Sarah Connor all these years saying for John, and he feels that much guilt, they never really address it. He just goes like, yes, that is true.
I mean, I say Ani is great. Like, you know, it's like, it's hard to find fault with him particularly.
Ani and Linda Hamilton are great in this movie.
They carry the film.
I just feel like the rest of the things were not required because again, it's a rehashed plot from T2.
Do you think this might be like just a time or production issue? Because I feel like Arnold should have been a part of the movie more, and the story felt like it was going towards that, but he only pops up like in
1
the
hour,
last
an hour into the film.
Very strange.
I think the film obviously,
can he just not do enough physically anymore?
No, I mean, for that they got the same body double they used for like the previous film for this film as well. The guy who plays the body part of the 1998 sequence or whatever. So I think it's fine introducing him late into the film because I think Linda Hamilton is good. Like, this is her film. She's got top billing on it. It's great.
Yeah.
I just think
but
it wasn't as
Logan either of them. I think because they're trying too hard to focus on the new kids.
They're making 3 movies in one.
I think
they end up making neither one.
The point was I think like James Cameron definitely wanted to start a new trilogy with this film, but it's also like a trilogy ender because it's like the close of. So I think they didn't know where to position
Force
it.
Awakens.
They should have just closed. No, I'm saying like Force Awakens had an agenda. We need to start a trilogy of films.
We need to finish the old trilogy in a sense and start a new trilogy.
As in, like,
in a sense.
with that one film, like but this film they didn't know whether they're closing the last one or opening a new one, and they tried to do both and they messed it up. Right? I think some of the action sequences are really cool. And I mean, that's what I like about these films.
The one in the plane, I thought was spectacular.
It was good.
It was really well
I like
done.
the damn thing at the end where they have to shove his face into a rotating like.
That
thing was like pretty brutal, man. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
I have a bone to pick with the airplane sequences. There is a moment when they are standing at the edge of the plane. And it seems like gravity and wind don't exist. Now, I get it. It's a film with robots and time travel and all of that. But part of the reason why Terminator 2 still holds up. It's such a tactile movie,
very visceral.
Like there's that very famous scene which is now a meme where the Mercury guy walks through the bars of the jail and then his gun gets stuck between the like it's such a tactile movie. You feel every thud, you feel every punch there, right?
Yeah.
Which is why it seemed like in any other blockbuster of 2019, maybe I wouldn't have paid so much attention. If it was Fast and the Furious, I'd be like, okay, cool, it's a film about exploding cars.
And it's amazing, but yeah.
It's amazing, sure. But because this is the Terminator, it bothered me that, there's so much happening and physically the characters don't seem to be going through that.
I think that's because that brings me actually to an issue I have with this new model of Terminator, which is the Rev 9, which is essentially the liquid metal T1000, but with a paint job, right?
As in,
and some upgrades. He can separate.
He's like the Nintendo Switch of Terminator.
It's like the action figure box which says now detachable.
Correct. But did it at any point feel
threatening?
Yeah,
I did feel threatened. I think there was some moments for me.
Compared to like the T1000, which is essentially the same thing,
still the
classic, man.
That felt unstoppable in a scary way, almost like it felt horror movie shit points. Or like the original Terminator, when like right at the end, the metal skeleton comes back to life.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. Here, you're just like,
I don't think
we'll have to figure out how to deal with this.
I agree. I don't think all the marks were hit, but I think there was one point which was genuinely scary. It was like when they're in the detention facility at the border, and they have to get to the helicopter. Like that whole where everyone is kind of like jumping on him and he's just killing people.
Yeah,
it felt very
because
Darth
they did
Vader-y.
something very new with his abilities, right? Like he's tossing out like multiple knives at a point, and then
it was cool. Like for me, that part was like, holy shit! Okay, these guys really have to get the out of here, and it's like it is scary. For me, that felt a bit threatening. And
another thing,
the way he runs is exactly like Robert Patrick, like the classic, straight hand kind of running, whatever. It was just like very like for me that felt kind of cool.
Another thing they could have done other than just like making more powerful or scary, I feel, which they also, it feels like they started trying to explore but didn't really flesh out, is him being more of a personality. Because this guy is like a con man, dude. Like he's walking around like switching accents. He's unlike any Terminator.
But he's like Robert Patrick does that in the
Robert
T1000.
Patrick, except for I think like towards the end where he does like his old finger wagging thing and whatnot, is still like a emotionless dude. This guy seems like he's like loving the hunt. He's like, all right, let's do this.
That's true, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, I thought he was fine. Like this movie,
exactly. Like everything is fine. There's nothing wrong with what they did here. It's not. It feels like there's something that they started that they didn't quite explore.
That's what for me. This movie, it's just like, okay, cool. It's a new Terminator film. I'm just gonna watch it. I want to see Arnie again. And that's it. And then you come back, you're like, all right, cool, it's fine. It's like when I watched Genesis, I was so disappointed. But then at the end of the film, I was like, all right, it's fine. Whatever. It's like, I don't think where we are right now as viewers of this kind of blockbuster cinema, it's like that model of like Terminator 2, just one man, one machine, or like a Die Hard, which we spoke about like a week ago, which is that one man in a build. I don't think those concepts are so... Like, those are the roots of action cinema now, Yeah,
and like, but Dwayne Johnson does make movies like those.
Yeah,
and they're
not good.
They're not good.
Like Skyscraper, for example. He said, we want to take Towering Inferno, we want to take Die Hard and make that. And he did it, and it doesn't work. Why? It's like, what is missing? It's like, obviously, is it the charm of the original is no longer as fresh to us as it used to be? It's probably not, because we've seen the best iteration of this type of movie has happened, right? And it's so crucial that Arnold Schwarzenegger is the film. It's like Die Hard is Bruce Willis, but Star Wars is not only Luke Skywalker. It because it deals with like, or Star Trek, for example. That's why we could have the Next Generation, because the ideas in those films or those series in this case are just bigger than the star. And like that's why you can't remake Rambo or
but
Rocky.
That is the case with the Terminator franchise, isn't it? Because
exactly. That's my
T2
point.
turned it into like it's a Linda Hamilton movie, man. She's such a badass in that, especially compared to like the damsel in distress.
I think Terminator is a Linda Hamilton film. Like purely, and Michael Biehn, I love him. I wish he was in this, but I think T2 is a lot more. It's
an ensemble cast.
It's an ensemble cast, and it's also what turned Arnold Schwarzenegger into a lovable hero, man. Like before that, he was Conan, or he's like this buff, like emotionless guy essentially, and then he turned into this guy. So I think it's very difficult for you to have a Terminator film without this guy at the center of it. Like that's why I watched this movie. I'm just like, oh, cool. I saw Carl, who is this guy who sells drapes now and like has a family, and he's like he has a son named Matteo.
Matteo.
I was just like, this is so fucking bonkers, man. Yeah. And like, he's telling jokes and shit. I was like, basically, this is Arnie from Instagram. Like, this is Instagram Arnie. So I was like, okay, cool.
The justification for that is totally up to Arnold Schwarzenegger's charisma, because when she asked him, wouldn't she notice you're 400 pounds? They're like, we don't have a physical relation. And we just buy it.
You have to buy it. You have to buy it. Like,
and I'm very funny.
Arnie just saying that it is, and yes, he is. And then he's like, there's that one scene where I knew they would talk about it, but he's like talking about the drapes. Like, I was like, great, man. That's solid.
It's all,
like getting to see what we wanted to see in Arnie. Like, a funny robot. Like, who will say no to that? And especially Arnie. That's great. That's a win right there.
As opposed to a Logan, which was so clear about like we're shutting everything down, which is why we can focus on like an older Wolverine and like everything he's gone through, and even like spoiler alert for Wolverine, for Logan I suppose, but kill him off at the end and everything. That kind of like that's a daring decision, right? As opposed to this movie, which is strictly in most senses I think fine. I didn't walk out going like, what a terrible movie,
which I did in Genesis.
Exactly. But here I was just like, fine, I guess that was a movie.
Exactly.
It's, like there were points where I had fun, like a couple of moments with Arnold, a couple of moments with Linda. I was like, these are great. Grace, I thought was like, just because of that lady Mackenzie Davis's performance,
she's cool,
was
man.
very good.
She was, I think she was the best thing in the movie.
There were parts where she was genuinely badass with not a lot to do, except like basically it's like they told her, okay, you're kind of like a machine, and also you get really tired sometimes.
And you have like fits and stuff, and like, okay, cool. That's
it's like they didn't fully flesh it out. They're like, we need to give her some kind of weakness. Okay, you need meds. Run.
That's just like, that was a bit arbitrary. In fact, even the future sequences, like actually the weakest link of the film is the leader. What's her name? Danny. Like, she's sweet and stuff like that, but
she doesn't have a personality.
She's not an Edward like Furlong kind of character who's this like dickish kid who has to realize that he's going to be the savior of the earth. This little shit is going to be the savior of the. He's dead now.
Do
you think it was essential to kill off John Connor?
No, I mean, I think they just needed to have the story without him, and that was a convenience.
You know what I thought? I thought what would, again, I'm doing that thing what I would have done.
No, you're right. Yeah, go for it.
What would have been interesting, and I thought about this, is that at the end of T2, now John Connor is no more the savior of the future. And for a kid who would have grown with that idea, suddenly that being taken away would have messed with his head. So maybe the relationship between the mother and the son deteriorates. He becomes a Jesse Pinkman and goes off to Alaska.
That would be amazing.
Right? So you keep that door open that maybe John might come back.
He's the Luke Skywalker then.
Kind of, yeah. And then at the end, then you maybe not have Arnold at all in this movie. Linda Hamilton becomes the Arnold figure in this, the protector, along with John Connor. So now you have a trio of John Connor, who was the savior at one point, Linda Hamilton, who's been through it all, seen it all, has a son with a guy who doesn't exist technically, and now it's up to them to kind of save the new savior of the.
It could be cool, absolutely. And what is Eddie Furlong doing anyway, man? Like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if I've ever seen him in anything other than
American History X, dude.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
He's amazing. That.
Cool.
I mean, that's a Edward Norton film, but still. Anyway, that's a great idea. I do. I mean,
the whole thing is like the whole soft reboot angle of this film kind of
down to the fact that they were like, okay, Skynet is still there, but now it's called Legion. Terminators are called Rev 9s.
And this is the problem, right? Like, if Genesis, Salvation, and Rise of the Machines did not exist, and this was the first movie that came off the back of T2, maybe we'd accept it a little more. But because we've seen so many iterations of it, I mean, why did we like clamor for Force Awakens to be a thing? And when we saw it, we were like, okay, fine, it's fine. It's because we were just hungry, like for that familiarity. It's just like we have been familiarized.
No one's hungry for this.
Yeah, we're not. But I mean, I'm just hungry to see Arnie. That's why when I saw Arnie, I was like, oh, this is great, and I'm satisfied. As a movie, I'm satisfied. Does this merit enough to spawn a new series? I don't know. They even killed off, like, I mean, spoilers, they killed off Grace, who is like a great character. So I mean, you took like a character that I really liked, and which was new, and boom, she's gone, instead of like holding on to her for a bit. But
She had, I think, the most charisma of the slot, which is a little worrying because if
the leader doesn't have
the leader, Danny, has to, like that scene where they eventually reveal the future flashback sort of thing where they were like,
that was lame.
And she rallied everyone. She gives her whole speech and you're just like, that's not a very convincing
It's
speech.
not at all. And those guys were like, we were going to stab you and take your money, but I guess we won't now. It's like, I believe you.
And I was like, that's the worst speech I've ever heard. She's just like, we don't have to kill each other. Like, oh, she's right.
You're right.
I didn't think of this.
This is like these guys said, right? Like at the end of Hobbs and Shaw, is like the lesson they learn at the end of Hobbs and Shaw to defeat the enemy is teamwork. It's like the end of Hobbs and Shaw. Have you seen that movie?
I haven't.
Oh my fucking god! It's like they're just like the end is like, wait, how do we defeat Idris Elba? It's like, okay, wait, I'm gonna punch him, and then you take a punch because he can only punch one of them at a time, and then you punch him, and then I take him. I swear to God, that's how they beat him in the end of the movie. It's the stupidest thing I've heard. No, but yeah, I mean, so essentially in this one, it's just like, oh wait, yeah, you're right. We don't have to kill each other. The machines are the villain. Man, so Abhimanyu and I went for this movie, and we were just like, man, maybe we should have seen something like where the AI has been the principal, enemy in this, right? They should maybe have introduced, or like a District 9 situation where they split the role, or like in Matrix Evolutions where they have like a Deus Ex Machina where somebody meets with the head of the machines to make like to parlay or like create a different future. That would be interesting to take the story forward a bit, because if Skynet was the first, like the Windows XP version of this thing, right?
Exactly.
And they destroyed a very by the numbers kind of villain, which was AI just wants to kill humanity, as opposed to something like the Matrix where AI needs like the bioenergy to kind of fuel. Right. So if they could do something like, if they could have done something like that, where they create like a symbiotic relationship and they have to navigate that one, that would be really interesting for Terminator, because as a franchise, they've never really kind of gotten to the core of why this is such a big deal, like this war at the end. It's just like a very 80s idea, actually.
Do you think it's because that original idea is a little flimsy when you start poking at it?
Of course it is.
Because everything else has been like trying to put band-aids on it. Like why the Terminator, I think, really works partly is because you don't have to ask any questions, because a lot of it,
Judgment Day.
Everything is like, shit is gonna go down, let's try and prevent that. And they don't even actually get into the actual thing, right? It's all like essentially a flashback movie from an inciting incident.
Except for Salvation, which is why it's interesting, because it's set in that future period, right? With John Connor, Christian Bale, I mean the whole thing. But even in that film, they don't really get to the crux of the matter. It's still like a fight between humans and machines. I just think man, like the 80s idea of AI, the machines will take over and kill us, is stupid. And the second stupid idea that they have had to kind of adhere to is the idea that there is one singular timeline. It's this very Meet the Robinsons kind of thing, where if you change something now, the future has changed. There's no like separate timelines except the films themselves that have been made
that
over the last
separate timelines.
So that's bizarre.
So these are all like, I think what disappointed me about this more than anything, because as a movie by itself right now, like you said, it's fine, especially if you like just erase everything else from your memory and go like, after T2 we had this. I'm like, okay, I guess we have this. The main issue I have is that it feels like it could be something ambitious, and it's really not.
It's really not.
Exactly,
It's so middle of the road, it's a little disappointing. Because there have been movies like Salvation does actually try something really interesting. As just like Rise of the Machines, right? Because like T and T2 felt like they just finished off.
But Rise of the Machines is the same thing. It's like, oh, okay, cool. It's not Cyberdyne in that timeline. It's something else, and they have to destroy it, and they destroy it. Oh no! In Rise of the Machine, the ending is Judgment Day happens.
Exactly.
It sticks to it. That it can't be avoided.
It takes the happy ending that happened in, like, at the end of Terminator. You're like, I guess we'll find out. At Terminator 2, you're like, oh, they actually saved it. Terminator 3, you're like,
no, but that's such a good idea that no matter what you do, Judgment Day is gonna come to you at some point. That's a great
as
idea.
Opposed to here, where essentially
let's avoid it again. It's just basically group assignments, like looking for another date. Let's just postpone it to another date. It's fine. Oh man,
part of me wanted to. Have you seen the movie Source Code?
Of course.
Underrated.
They just give you different versions of what the future could be. Part of me wanted this movie to be that. Just show us all the versions.
Really cool.
And you know what would be amazing? if they do an Endgame and and
go back.
get Emilia Clarke, Jay Courtney from the last one, get Christian Bale, get all the guys in one movie. Oh man, it's too much.
Yeah, it's all too much, and it doesn't seem like they'll do it. I'll tell
It's
you what,
not worth the effort.
let's take a break, and we'll come back and do final thoughts.
Hi guys, this is Ayushi.
And I am Ritasha.
And welcome to Agla Station Adulthood.
It's a fun podcast we've got going on, and we'd love for you to tune in and enjoy with us.
Join us as we stop at various stations and discuss different topics that seem to be bothering us and hopefully
Dating,
you as well.
relationships, beauty, just being an adult, lots of different things.
We don't have a great grip on it, but we've done okay so far.
Catch Agla Station Adulthood every Thursday on the IVM app, the IVM website, or wherever else you get your podcasts.
All right, we're back. We have been backed. Let's do a round of one. Tell me.
I have to tell you this though. The actual sequel to Terminator 2 is something I saw when I was a kid. If you go to Universal
Terminator
Studios,
I've heard about this.
Terminator 2 3D, the ride.
Right.
Okay, stars Linda Hamilton, Edward Furlong, and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I've heard about this.
I'm gonna
45 minutes or so.
It is flippin' amazing. Okay, so it's like you walk into, it's like a Universal Studios, right? So there's a waiting room. In the waiting room, it's like Skynet is like, welcome to Skynet, da-da-da-da-da. And they're giving you this whole presentation of how, and then suddenly the screen glitches go, and then suddenly John Connor and Linda Hamilton's like, oh my god, can you guys read us? Are we coming through? And they're just like, oh no, we have to take down the machines, we're in the future, all that shit. And then you walk into the thing, and it's this whole 3D ride. You sit in a theater, and I swear, this is amazing. It's like they're fighting all these HKs, hunter killers, and all these things are flying about, and Arnie's there, and everyone, and they're shooting and all. And then Arnie's like, there's only one way we can do this, and whatever. And like he fucking rides towards the screen, okay, towards you, and then whoosh, there's a big fucking amount of smoke, and the fucking the bike is there on the ground, in front of you, with this Arnie
he
guy.
jumped out of the screen?
Yes.
Oh my god.
He's there, and they do this whole thing over there, and and it's like fucking incredible. And then they save the future. It's fine, but it's insane. I wish somebody
I've
put
looked
that
for
on
this
the
on
internet.
YouTube, but it's not for some reason.
I guess you can't. I mean,
I feel like you gotta see
They
it.
should release that. It's great. That would be great.
I think it is on one of these deluxe edition DVDs. Of
Man, it
T2.
should be because it was shot by
Arnie
these
has
guys.
to go and actually jump out of the screen every time.
He's like, it's too much. But yeah. So
I was chosen to act.
Yeah.
Doesn't the climax have like a spider Terminator, like this weird thing with 8 legs or something like that?
In the
In
Terminator
the ride,
2,
yeah.
I can't remember. It was years, and you have 13.
That's kind of like this Rev
14
9
years
in parts, right?
Yeah.
That could have been so scary, man. Like when in that part where he just starts throwing knives out of the entire thing, I was
Man,
like,
scary.
I expected him to turn into like a new form,
I mean,
literally like a spiderish thing,
Yeah.
and just walk around stabbing 360 degrees.
Man, there's
They were
also
just
a lot of Linda Hamilton has the most amount of plot armor ever, right?
Of
He's
course.
like, I'm gonna stab you and I'll stab you, but Sarah Connor, I'm gonna throw you across the room. And she's like a grandma. She 100% broke her hip on this one, but man,
Yeah, she's badass, but there was some luck involved.
lots of plot
I
armor.
give it brownie points for finding a unique way to deal with cell phones, that she keeps it in potato chip wrappers.
Yeah.
That's
and
interesting.
then they write that off saying, if you want to keep it, just keep it in that. Don't just eat potato chips.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. I think a lot of it is interesting. You're right. There
lot
was a
of it's
very
interesting, yeah.
Logan-esque kind of things. They could have Force Awakened it properly, but you're right. I think they kind of half-assed a lot of these
Half-assed
things.
a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Chalo. A round of one good, one bad.
One nice, one bad.
One nice,
Dinkar.
one bad.
How do you
I keep
forget your
forgetting the
own
name
games?
of my own. Yeah, it is my games, and I forget the name of it.
Yeah.
We're doing a round of one nice, one bad. They just give us a one nice, one bad.
One nice is I actually like the setting of it. I like that it's not in suburban America. I guess it's in this whole I like this whole border,
Also,
Mexican.
this is Texas.
Yeah, also this is Texas. Classic, right?
Nice.
So good. Easy one. But Arnie can do anything.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
it's like they threw it up for him, and he's like, I'm
Yeah.
just into the basket.
Half surprised they didn't make it in California. Would be amazing. California. But yeah, so I like the setting, and I like Carl. Yeah, I love Carl's character as opposed to just Arnie. But yeah.
Give us a bad.
And the bad. Bad is the movie. No. It's got 70% on RT, which is like.
But it's met a dark fate at the box office.
Yeah, so it's surprising. And the audience response is like 83%. And when I went in with Abhimanyu, we both
I'm
knew.
getting like highly skeptical of these audience tomato meters. They make no sense anymore.
Yeah, you're right.
Like every movie, like Venom is like 98% or whatever.
And that is a trash movie. You know it, right? Like, this is better than Venom. Okay, let me just put this.
It's not setting the bar very high.
Exactly, but that's what I expect from Terminator right now, right? Like, I know it had this big prestige kind of blockbuster value to it, but obviously they've like watered down they've diluted the value of the IP.
Yeah.
So Abhimanyu and I went into this movie thinking, well, whatever, this is gonna be another one. If it sucks, it sucks. It's fine. We went in with super low expectations, had a really good time, and came out happy. So yeah, my bad is...
This was your bad?
No, so my bad is... what is my bad? I think the lead character, I think Danny, I'm sure she's a good actress. I think she was maybe miscast or she wasn't written well.
No, I think she
probably
wasn't given anything.
Yeah, she was not written well.
Especially
probably.
like moments where they're like, where Sarah Connor gives her this whole speech about like, it's not about you, it's about your womb.
Yeah.
And everybody just kind of looks away like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, they okay boomered her.
That was weird. I mean, but it was...
But also you immediately knew when that speech
Obviously.
happened, like obviously that's not the case then.
That's not the case. And then, like super late. Sarah Connor's like, she's not me, she's John. I was like, yeah, she's John. Yeah.
And then the silence for like 30 seconds, everybody just like looks at each other, they ignore her, and she jumps in again like, you're John.
Yeah. And
We heard you, lady.
And even the I mean, like the whole Grace's backstory, I was like, obviously she's saved, obviously you knew her, because we've seen the exact same story in like 3 other... That's the original Kyle Reese and John Connor story. Kyle Reese was saved by... So in Salvation, Kyle Reese is played by, I mean, God bless his soul, Anton Yelchin, who's a young guy in that. And John Connor is obviously Christian Bale. So he's... John Connor and, and Kyle Reese are supposed to be like this mentor kind of... So it's the exact same relationship. So it was not very...
Except I did get a bit of They're in Love vibe.
They're in love? Yeah?
Yeah. Did you not kind of get that? Like when she goes like, oh, I've seen that face so many times before. I was like, rom-com.
I feel like maybe they could have gone into it, but...
Yeah, I mean, the fact
they can't... I mean, they can in the future now, I suppose.
In the flashback, the fact that she volunteers immediately to go back kind of was like, gave us a hint about
Fair enough. But it was, I guess, looking at her when she was a kid when she grows up is weird also.
How old is Danny?
She's on a fucking swing and all that shit, man. I was just like...
I mean, that way the entire timeline is pretty
Yeah.
John Connor shows his dad. He's like, you look physically fit to bang my mom, so why don't you go to the
What if, like, before sending Kyrie's back, he's just like, so you, like, a history of diabetes in your family or anything like that?
It's like finding a sperm donor, essentially.
Just doing a screening.
But, like, I mean,
male pattern baldness, you're not going back.
Explain this to me, though. I mean, like, he did a DNA test with this kid, and he's like, oh, we kind of have the same DNA. I guess you're the one. You go. Well, man, that's weird though, right?
It is weird.
It's like there's gonna be a Terminator on your tail, but you need to find time.
Yeah, just to
get
get busy. I mean, that is weird. He's like, I've come back to save your pregnant. He's like, what? I'm not that I know of.
All right, Abbas, one nice, one bad.
Oh my God, is John Connor like Jesus? Is that supposed to be like sorry?
The Jesus Connor.
Yeah. He said, imagine he went back and she's like, yeah, I'm pregnant, and I don't know who the father is. It's just like, yeah.
I guess, because like technically if he came back and then died, then he doesn't sort of exist.
And now he officially doesn't exist. The timeline is gone.
So, oh my God, John Connor is Jesus.
Yeah.
And he gets shot in this movie at 8. Oh, damn. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, one good. Linda Hamilton, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think were very good. Still have all the charisma and all the physical prowess to play what they did. The bad, the reboot stuff. I mean, the rehashing the plot of T2 again. They could have done so much more with this film. So the new stuff not so good. Yeah. Old stuff still good.
Is that Death Star? No, this is Starkiller Race.
Yeah, exactly. I think I have the same nices and bads, which is basically like the bad. I think to me is like, what is this exercise? Why suddenly go like, I don't know what Skynet is, and then 10 minutes later go like, by the way, there's this thing called Nietzsche. It's like, cool, I guess.
It's the same.
It's literally the same, which is why I like the eye rolly bit that Sarah Connor is
they never change.
But the funny thing is that at least in Force Awakens, Han Solo is just like, what? It's the same thing, it's just bigger. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. Oh man, yeah.
Oh man.
A little sad.
But yeah, Arnie was pretty great, though I do have some questions about what is the deal here? How did he, at least they address the fact that he can start learning now, because he didn't have a mission, so he was free to, become more human
also,
in a
technically,
sense. Why is he old?
No, because exoskeleton, the skin or the organic part ages.
It's
that they
living
explained
tissue.
in Genesis.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
But
Genesis isn't canon.
I mean, but it's
you know how
explained
he
in it.
heals? Like when he's shot,
He doesn't heal.
Of course he
He
heals.
doesn't heal. No.
He doesn't heal.
In fact, in the first Terminator, he even bleeds when he's replacing his eye.
Correct, but
In the
so he
in
doesn't
Terminator
heal.
2,
He doesn't heal
cuts off his
instantly.
goddamn arm.
He doesn't heal instantly.
But it heals at
No.
some point.
No, he
doesn't.
doesn't heal.
What?
No. Which is why when the skin goes off, it stays off.
It stays off. Yeah, he can't. He's not Wolverine, man. It's
okay.
the other guy,
organic
the
tissue.
T1, the Mercury guy heals.
But that's because he's not living tissue at
Exactly,
all, right?
yeah.
He's just like
He's
liquid metal
liquid
pretending
metal.
to be.
Pretending to be, yeah.
All right. Still,
That's why, I think he says. I'm gonna have a hard time explaining that to my wife when she shoots him.
Yeah.
And he's just because obviously he can't cover it up. I mean, I guess so. That's the only thing. It's fine.
I
It's really
thought
not
the living
biggest-
tissue heals like a human does, so it's not like rapid instant healing like a Wolverine. But at some point he'd recover.
No, there's a scene in T2 where Sarah Connor is
He's just removing
putting
the bullets.
bandages on
Yeah.
his
Correct.
wounds.
Yeah. And isn't that where he says I'll heal at some point?
I can't remember.
Okay, I might be wrong.
I mean, Arnie is in these films for all of one day.
Yeah.
Of his relevance is one
Yeah.
day. So we're never gonna see him heal because he's always gonna bite the bullet.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
My other pressing question about the Terminator franchise that I've always had is,
Hit me.
why do the Terminators have teeth? They always have teeth, and they're
great.
very prominent teeth.
Well, because they have to look
things.
they have to look like humans.
The skulls have teeth.
Yeah, I know.
Like the actual
The skull has the
so
teeth.
whenever we
The
go
skull-
into the Judgment Day era as
They
well,
have teeth.
in the future.
Also, it's fucking scary.
Yeah, it's scary.
That's what's
but
the worst
even
thing about if they
because of the teeth.
Okay, check
it's
it out.
very unnerving.
Imagine they
It's
didn't
like-
have the teeth. It's they're just walking.
Like
around. Not as scary.
Yeah, like
Not
an
as-
Ultron. An Ultron with his mobile,
with his malleable
lips.
mouth. Yeah.
They always mess up the mouths on these AI things. Like
Wait, this
Ultron,
was great. This is great. It's scary. It's
Ultron,
it's
when he
not
starts
just
whistling and stuff. You're just you freaking cartoon character.
What is more scary? Oh my god, this AI is fucking after me.
I
this
get-
AI with perfect teeth.
I get the design
better
reason.
than me. Better than mine. Did you have braces?
An AI with
No, I am
full
a
dental
brace.
plan.
No, man. Really, it's scary.
I
it's
know.
quite
Yeah,
scary
that's the design reason for it. But as someone inventing
also,
Terminators,
check it out. Also, they have to mimic a human look, and so the living tissues are exterior stuff, but the teeth are part of the jaw and shit like that, man. So you're gonna have to put it on that end
Why
of it,
does the
endoskeleton side of it. You're not gonna put it on the flesh side. I mean, how else?
The liquid metal.
It's I'm sure if you look at the Terminators, they also have nails. They also have nails.
These
They
are
have
just
toenails
things.
and nails.
Yeah, these are things you have to do.
You gotta.
I mean, that way there's a lot of questions like how did the liquid metal dude even get transmitted in the first place, right? Because living tissue is the only thing that really moves. The liquid
What? What are you talking about?
Isn't the idea that dead stuff does not get transmitted through through time?
Oh, I thought it was just. In the sense that like clothes or any guns.
Correct.
And
That's
stuff
why they always land up naked.
I'm sure they figured it out.
But yeah, so
Listen, this is not Skynet. This is Legion. All right, they got their
Correct.
shit
Yes,
together.
you're right. Yep,
They
yep,
just
yep.
did an update.
Yeah, because by that theory, when Grace goes back through time, her entire cybernetic part should have been left behind.
Yeah, technically.
And she just lands up here as a human and goes now I'm just like a regular human who needs meds all the time.
Okay, I think we're done enough damage
yeah,
here.
we have.
All right, Terminator, Dark Fate. It was fine. I thought it was just a great... Man, I was saying...
Watch it if you feel like it.
I love average films. I love watching just whatever. It's like, I don't have to use my brain so much. It's just like entertainment, and then I watch Arnie, and it's great, and then I go home. And this is one of those. So let us know if you liked Terminator, if you can potentially see a sequel or not, and write to us, contactgeekfruit@gmail.com, and on social media at GeekFruitHQ. Abbas, thank you so much for being here. What is your handle?
My pleasure. I'm at Abbas Momin on Twitter and Abbas Momin 88 on Instagram.
Sweet. And Dinks, nobody cares about us.
Yeah, we're at GeekFruitHQ on all socials.
Yeah. All right. See you later, you nerds.
What do we have to do? Welcome to What a Play, you guys. This is the favorite sports podcast of several sports persons such as myself, Dudeja and Mikhail, who also happen to be the hosts.
Yes, you should definitely listen to our podcast for our take, and quite a uninformed but hilarious take on sports every week. We give out awards, we discuss what happened in the world of sports, and
we take breaks as well.
We come up with jingles and sound effects on the go. So you should definitely give us an example of a sound effect, Dudeja.
Bolo Matthew Vade.
Yeah, tune in for some of that, bro. You can catch us on the IVM network every Wednesday on the go. On the Wednesday, in the Wednesday. Yeah? Wednesday, What a Player. What a Player W, Wednesday W.
Wow. Wednesday. Wednesday to Wednesday, What a Player, Matthew Vade.
Did you know that Parsis in Mumbai, instead of being left at the Tower of Silence after they die, are now cremated? And why? Because a cow fell sick in the early 1990s. Did you know that the smog in Delhi is caused by something that farmers in Punjab do, and that there's no way to stop them? Did you know that there wasn't one gas tragedy in Bhopal, but 3? One of them was seen, but 2 were unseen. Did you know that many well-intentioned government policies hurt the people they're supposed to help? Why was demonetization a bad idea? How should GST have been implemented? Why are all our politicians so corrupt when not all of them are bad people? I'm Amit Verma, and in my weekly podcast, The Seen and the Unseen, I take a shot at answering all these questions and many more. I aim to go beyond the seen and show you the unseen effects of public policy and private action. I speak to experts on economics, political philosophy, cognitive neuroscience, and constitutional law so that the insights can blow not only my mind, but also yours. The Seen and the Unseen releases every Monday. So do check out the archives and follow the show at seenunseen.in. You can also subscribe to The Seen and the Unseen on whatever podcast app you happen to prefer.